Good morning, everybody. Tis the season, so are you feeling it yet? Along with holiday cheer comes holiday stress. So managing it is important to helping you fully enjoy the joy of the season. Kyle Platt is with the Alliance Health Center. He is also from the Community Action Coalition, and he's joining us this morning to talk about dealing with anxiety and stress during the holiday season. Great to have you here, Kyle.
Thanks for having me.
You know, a lot of us think about the holidays as fun and frolic and shopping and getting together with family and friends, but for a lot of people, it is really just stressful, isn't it?
It can be a lot. It can be overwhelming, and we are very prone to overcommit ourselves. And we set very high expectations for what we expect to get out of the holidays. They're sometimes unreasonable.
And some of that, I guess, comes along with, obviously part of it is like gift giving and, going to parties and trying to show up for all the people we need to show up for. But how do we manage all of that so that we don't just totally stress ourselves out? Because there's a little bit of stress that comes with it.
It's a really good question, and we all fall victim to that, right? Because we want to be involved as much as we can. I think the best thing to really do is to really reflect on yourself and set your own expectations, what you hope to get out of this holiday season. Make sure that you're not overcommitting yourself. Be realistic, because we may find that we give and give and give, and we over-participate, and we still fall short for the joy and the expectations, what we were hoping to get out of it. We fall short, and that leaves us with the stress and the anxiety.
One of this group that you're involved with, the Community Action Coalition, is this group of mental health professionals, it's spiritual leaders who all have come together with the purpose of helping put that focus on mental health, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about the group.
So what we did, we started a volunteer group of mental health providers, pastors, community leadership individuals, members from the business community, anybody that had an interest in sharing what they're hearing from their peers around the Columbus and the Golden Triangle area involving mental health trends or substance use disorder trends. And we meet and collaborate once a month with the aspirations of providing a free public event once a quarter, targeting what's happening most prevalently around this area.
When you're hearing from people about the needs in the community, specifically in this community, what are some of the greatest needs when it comes to addressing mental health?
It's across the board. I think the biggest thing is the education, the awareness of that people don't understand taking care of your mental health is as important as taking care of your physical health. And specifically in this area, we've had events geared toward adolescent self-harm, and we've also done awareness around a couple of factors of substance use. There's gas station drugs that are being highly prominent around here, alcohol, methamphetamines, the access to self-coping drugs that are affiliated with party and good time are taking over a lot of people's lives right now.
And that's a lot of what you're going to see probably an increase in during the holiday season. The access to, substances, the access to alcohol, because all these things, alcohol in particular, can be a part of the big celebrations, right?
That's right.
And so people have to know how to cope with that. If people find themselves in a situation where they're feeling like they're getting beyond the normal stress that one might feel, what are some things that they can do? What are the resources that are available?
There's resources all over the town. We have, and it doesn't matter whether or not you have the ability to pay for them or not. There's ranges from free community support level resources all the way through professional counseling services. The Community Action Coalition, where we meet once a month in partnership with community counseling services, we have points of contact that we advertise through that, and we want to make sure that on this posting we at least put some contact information out for people wanting to participate and or looking for access to resources. They can always reach out to community counseling services here, Baptist, or always there's a national hotline for 988.
All right. Well, we absolutely want people to enjoy the holidays stress-free, but know if they do have problems, there is a group that's out there that's helping cope with that, and more importantly, to take that stigma away that's often associated with mental health and mental illness.
Absolutely.
All right, Kyle, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about dealing with grief during the holiday season, how to help your family and friends. That's coming up next on Mid Morning. Welcome back, everyone. After 77 years of marriage, former President Jimmy Carter said his final goodbyes to his wife, Rosalind, earlier this week. The loss of a spouse can have a profound impact on your health, both emotionally and physically, and it's something millions of older adults experience. Mandy Gaither has ways to support a surviving spouse through the grief of loss.
Losing a loved one is never easy, but the loss of a longtime spouse can be especially hard.
Couples have oftentimes compensated for one another's deficits.
Geriatrician Amit Shah with Mayo Clinic says surviving spouses may have to take on new roles and responsibilities because of their loss. It can be especially overwhelming as they deal with grief, which can affect them not only emotionally, but physically as well.
There's a syndrome called broken heart syndrome, where you can actually see a person's heart function decline on an ultrasound or echocardiogram of their heart.
Shaw says asking how you can help fill in the gaps for things a partner used to do can help. Since there's no timeline for grief and everyone feels it differently, Shaw says to check in on a surviving spouse often and over time.
Don't give up on them. Remember them beyond that acute period, and really reach out.
Shaw says to help them grow around their grief by acknowledging things will never be the same and engage with them. Try to get them doing things they once enjoyed, like a hobby. He says never assume you know how they're feeling.
Because what if they are feeling relieved that death has finally come and suffering is over, and you're expecting them to be sad, and now you've made them feel badly about not being sad. So I think just open-ended, genuine care can never go wrong.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And Dr. Shaw says during periods of grief, seniors can be especially vulnerable to scammers, and loved ones can help by being vigilant and making sure that the person is not being taken advantage of, that is. So the holiday season can be especially difficult for really anyone who's facing loss, and that loss could be new or old. Kim Criswell from Baptist Golden Triangle is joining us to talk about coping with grief and depression during the holidays. So we're continuing our conversation on taking care of our mental health during the holidays. Great to have you here, Kim.
Thank you for having me.
So grief can be especially difficult during the holiday season, that, you know, everybody is supposed to be filled with all of this joy and happiness, but it's not the case if you have experienced loss.
It's not. When you've lost someone, that seat at the table's missing, that special person's not there, and for some it can, especially if it's that very close person to you, a spouse, a child, someone extremely close, it can be very devastating.
So one of the things you say people should focus on who are grieving or feeling some sense of loss is to know that happiness is not a permanent feeling.
Right. Happiness is fleeting. Joy can be more permanent. Joy is something that's more internal to us, but happiness is fleeting. So good times come and go, bad times come and go.
So we're sort of trying to remember that, and it's hard to focus on that fact, but trying to remember that it's joy that you want, not necessarily happiness.
Right.
So you've come with some tips, and we're going to talk about a few of these to getting through the holiday season if you are dealing with loss or grief. And the first thing you say is only do what feels right for you.
Yes, do what feels right. Don't feel like you have to continue with the exact tradition the way it was. If it's very uncomfortable, you may create a new tradition. You may start something new, or someone wants you to go to a certain place or do things differently and you want to do it this way. You know, do what feels right. Don't be led into a direction that's just not comfortable.
Part of that also is sort of planning ahead. So knowing that, you know, those feelings of sadness may creep up on you. So plan ahead.
Plan ahead. Know that you may have some times that are going to be more difficult. So have an out, maybe a way to step away for a few minutes, to take a break, but plan, know what you're going to do, and know what your limits are.
Another important point I think you make here is about acknowledging the losses, like say the names, you know, talk about the memories, right?
Over time, we find at first it's very, very difficult. Over time, it becomes easier, and it becomes a joy to remember the good times, remember the good things about people, but saying their names can be very comforting.
And tears are okay, and they're going to happen, right?
Yes, they are very much okay. It helps us move through the process.
One of the things that brings us all a smile during the holidays, children, because they really embrace the joy of the holidays. So you say sort of try to put the focus on the kids.
Yeah, if there are children involved in your family, you know, make it about the kids. Enjoy the children, and watch their joy, get joy from them. Watching them open presents and just seeing that sheer pleasure.
sort of going back to one of the things Kyle said in our block previous to this, he said, don't overbook yourself. Make some time for yourself. Why is that important?
So that we don't get so caught up in being overwhelmed. There may be already a lot of obligation and things we feel like we have to do, and when we're grieving and we're feeling somewhat depressed, that can make it even more difficult. So block some time out that you can go be by yourself, go see a movie, watch something, read a book, do something with friends. Just block some time for yourself.
I think every mental health professional I've had sit at this table to talk about taking care of your mental health has in some way told us we need to learn how to unplug. Why is that important, particularly during the holidays and trying to deal with grief?
I think it helps us to decrease the feeling of being overwhelmed, the feeling that we have to do, or the feeling that we owe something. When we're depressed or grieving, we often feel like we still have to go, we still have to put on this smile and be that person for everyone else. When we unplug, we get away from our devices, we get away from our phones, we get away from everything, and we are able to just relax and enjoy the moment.
And the final one, which I think is so very important, is communicate expectations.
Yes, let your loved ones know this year, this is what this is what I will do, what I will not do. I'd like for us to do it this way, that way. Let your loved ones know that maybe we're not going to make it for breakfast this year, or we're going to do something different.
All right, all very good advice and wonderful ways to just make it through a time when everyone is smiling and happy, but acknowledging that for a lot of people, loss is there. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, when we come back, making the holidays brighter and every child feel important. A conversation about the Boys and Girls Club. That's next. Welcome back, everyone. For more than 100 years, the Boys and Girls Club has been helping young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. The clubs in Columbus, Starkville, and West Point serve more than 300 children, providing enriching programs, activities, and experiences. And it takes support from the community to get all of this done. Christopher Thompson is joining us to tell us more about the great work going on at the clubs in the Golden Triangle, plus information about a special event that's coming up. Christopher, great to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
And we should note also that you're the director of the Starkville unit, so you all are busy over there, aren't you?
Very busy.
Let's talk a little bit about some of because I think most everyone is familiar with the Boys and Girls Club, but some of the special programs and experiences that the kids are getting in the Golden Triangle.
Perfect. Just how you just said it just then, I love to start with our mission, which is to enable all young people, especially those who need us the most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. We do that every single day for the kids that we serve, and we do that through our programs. We have over 100 programs that we have through our Boys and Girls Club of America curriculum. And basically these programs help them with character and leadership development, arts development, and also very importantly, education as well.
So many education programs that come through all three units,
Right.
Columbus, West Point, and Starkville. There's that focus on robotics and STEM, right?
Yes, STEM, both of those and many more. I know in Columbus unit, we just got our design studio and also our arts studio as well. So many good things coming to our organization right now.
People should know that in order for us to provide all of these great, and I say us because full disclosure, I'm a member of the Boys and Girls Club Board of Golden Triangle, so it's great to work with these children, that it takes money to make all of this happen, right?
Definitely, it does take money, and we already are so appreciative of like the support that the community is giving us, but we always ask and say, hey, if you have more, please pour into our kids' life. They are the ones who are actually our next future in the world. So.
Absolutely. On an annual basis, there is the golf tournament.
Yes.
There's also the
sports talk.
Sports talk.
And also we normally have our views and blues. But we didn't have that this year, but this year we're gonna have a new event coming up.
All right, let's get to that. That new event is the inaugural Blue Tie Gala. Tell us about that.
This is gonna be our inaugural Blue Tie Gala. It's gonna be a fantastic event for people to come out and support our club. It's gonna be on next Saturday, December 9th, starting at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, we have a social hour, basically, where we have a live band performance. And at 6:30, we'll get things rolling and started. At that event, you'll be able to hear from our club members who have been youth Youth of the Years, or current club members as well.
And it's going to be in a beautiful new venue here in Columbus, the
Yes.
Idlewild Event Center.
Yes, the Idlewild venue center. Yes, ma'am.
All right. One of the great things about this program, as you mentioned, there's going to be some great entertainment, first of
Right.
all, but being able to hear the stories
Yes.
of, I guess you call them alumni from
Yes,
the Boys
alumni.
and Girls Club. Some of them will speak, some of your current club members will
Right.
speak, and it really will give people who buy tables and sponsorships the opportunity to hear firsthand what their money is going to, what their support is going to.
Exactly, because we will also have a panel that will be hosted by yourself, Ms. Aundrea, and at that panel you'll be able to hear from a single parent who attends the club, a regular household parent family, a blended family, and also a former youth club alumni as well.
Okay, and I will make a quick change has been made. Actually, Judge Nicole Clinkscales is going to be
Awesome.
On stage with that panel discussion. So
Perfect.
it's going to be a great event. Again, so it's coming up on December the 9th at the Idlewild Event Center, and you can get more information by really calling any of the three clubs. The number I have up there is for the Starkville unit, 615-9980, but you can get information or tickets or sponsorship information at any of the units. Christopher, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. All right, coming up, the 90s and hip hop means the Wu-Tang Clan. A conversation coming up ahead on Mid-Morning. Welcome back, everyone. The Wu-Tang Clan is known for its raw lyrical style and unique delivery. They helped popularize hip hop in the early 1990s. Nate Burleson looks at their legacy and what's next for them.
It's 1993. New York City. And the freshest sound in American hip hop was coming from Staten Island.
Ray got it going on, pal. Called me the rap assassinator. Rhymes rugged and built like Schwarzenegger.
Armed with a unique name inspired by kung fu films of the 1970s, the Wu-Tang Clan were as dangerous with their rhymes
Going to war with the melting pot.
as their martial arts counterparts were with their hands.
Tossing and forcing, my style is awesome.
Where did the influence of Shaolin, martial arts, that type of cinema, how did that come into play?
You know, well, it started, of course, in Manhattan, 42nd Street. Instead of going to school, we hung in the theaters all day. You know, we're talking about 13, 14-year-old men absorbing 3 of these movies a day.
Slaying boom bangs like African drums.
Robert Diggs, known musically as The RZA,
Crazy flamboyant for the rap enjoyment.
was the engine behind Wu-Tang's early success
Yeah, another one there.
and helped assemble the group's roster. The GZA, Old Dirty Bastard, Method Man, You God, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killer, Raekwon the Chef, and eventually Master Killer.
Within those films, it was always philosophy. It was brotherhood. It was train yourself to be the best you can be.
Discipline,
Discipline, you know what I mean?
sacrifice.
Sacrifice, exactly. And so all those things, of course, it shows up in our music.
Straight from the slums of Shaolin.
The group's first studio album, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, was gritty, raw, and low budget. Sometimes violent, and much of the time mixed with samples, it helped expand what hip-hop could be. An alternative to the West Coast gangster rap and jazz-infused hip-hop that was leading the pop charts.
When I pick up this right here, what does this mean to you and to the Wu-Tang?
And I'm gonna call it, it's like a signpost, right? A lamppost, a point where hip hop, of course, was here before us. But once this thing comes, it's gonna change.
What was it like for y'all working on the inside?
In the midst of us growing success, we still had all the basic problems of being a young black man. Police pulling us over, putting guns to our heads, and all of a sudden we dropped Cream.
Living in the world no different from a cell.
Those first road trips, I never forget. You know, we started off in a van and everybody laying on each other's shoulder, right? And we went from being gold to headed towards platinum.
For those that don't know, platinum is what?
Platinum is selling 1 million records, physical. And
That's old school physical. This isn't streams.
Nah.
Here I go. Deep type flow. Jack you stole can never get this low.
In 2004, at only 35 years old, Old Dirty Bastard, founding Wu-Tang member and RZA's cousin, died following an accidental drug overdose.
The Wu-Tang was a group of individuals that moved like a family. But even within those individuals, ODB stood out. What was it like growing up and understanding the impact that your father had?
1, 2, 1, 2. This is how we do it from Brooklyn.
We didn't know what was going on, obviously.
Ow!
We had Pampers on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As long as mommy changed me, we was good.
Yeah.
He was real dirty, but we weren't that dirty.
Barson Jones, known as Young Dirty Bastard,
At nighttime,
is ODB's eldest son. Today, he performs with Wu-Tang in Dad's Place.
I'm penetrating through.
After the show at the Barclays, we actually sat down and we had a family dinner. It's like two sides of the family. It's like the dirty side and it's the digs. And no matter what, how high we climb at Wu Mountain, and you know, that just brings us back to who we are as people, deeply rooted into each other. And I don't think nobody could change the dirt.
If I can speak for the entire clan, when we see him on stage, embodying that energy of his father. And somebody the other day said he actually performed a little bit better that night than they've seen ODB perform. And I was like, whoa, hold it. But the energy that he's giving and he's encapsulating, for us it's a joy because we know our brother is not physically here, right? But you have to have a physical representation of him that is as close as you can possibly get to him.
Yeah.
And to see him, you know, whether he's conscious of it or not, he goes into it.
More than 3 decades and 7 studio albums later, today, the Wu-Tang Clan continue to tour and pump out new music.
The pain that I experienced overthrew the fame.
So we've seen what hip-hop has accomplished over these first 50 years. Where do you see hip-hop headed?
I always say that hip-hop is a mountain. And I think 50 years only marks the base of the mountain. So I think we got a long way to go, and it's going to keep evolving.
Nate Burleson, CBS News.
And we'll be right back to wrap things up. Stay with us. All right, we are all out of time. Remember, take care of yourself during this holiday season. We'll see you back here next time. Have a great day.